హాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్, దిస్ ఇస్ పవన్. వెల్కమ్ బ్యాక్ టు పక్కా వైజాగ్ ఛానల్. ఫ్రెండ్స్, ఇవాళ మీకు ఒక ఎగ్జైటింగ్ లొకేషన్ చూపించబోతున్నాను. అది తేలి నీలాపురం పెలికన్స్ నెస్టింగ్ ఏరియా అన్నమాట. సో ఈ ప్లేస్కి ఎలా వెళ్ళాలంటే ఫస్ట్ శ్రీకాకుళం వెళ్తాం ఫ్రెండ్స్. అక్కడి నుంచి టెక్కలి వెళ్తాం. సో టెక్కలి నుంచి తేలి నీలాపురం అనే విలేజ్కి వెళ్ళిపోవచ్చు. సో గూగుల్ మ్యాప్స్లో చాలా క్లియర్గా ఉంటుంది ఫ్రెండ్స్. ఈ ఏరియా, ఈ రూట్ అంతా చాలా సింపుల్ వెళ్ళడానికి.
Important bird area, this is known as, not referred to as a sanctuary. Community, people and the birds have got such a beautiful interconnection, and this goes on in Andhra itself. We have about 140 plus important bird areas. Sanctuaries are those where you have a whole lot of birds which come over and they are at a distance and things like that. That's a difference. But all these differences Bhagyashree will be explaining beautifully. And these kind of spaces are unique, they're special. So we've lost a lot also because of the East Coast Energy thermal plant which was coming here. Right from 2003 there's been a war, and 6 it was a big war. That's when Hattangadi, Mr. Sohan had come here, they'd written letters, they did dharna, they did lot of all that. And imagine the bird life that is here and you're taking away. Today also as we stand, after Woodwood, we've lost a lot of tree cover. One thing we can do very easily is a tree cover which is intrinsic or which is to this area, not any exotic ones. It's just tamarin, and another one mesquite, which they say that means a variety of shrubs and trees which belong to this kind of habitat. That is one of the reasons why I bring in groups. Many people say, why don't you take lot more people? It's not about lot more, because it is just a few, it's a bird area. Lot more cars, lot more people destroys the feeling that we are trying to impose or we are trying to share with others. So even if it's a small group, I can do 10 different times, but I would like to do it like each one of us are shareholders of this sentiment, or we are carriers, we leaders of one thought, and we can keep sharing it. So I will not talk much about the birds and the shapes and the sizes and what it is, because she is doing beautifully well. So we'll go.
సో ఫ్రెండ్స్, ఇది తేలి నీలాపురం విలేజ్. ఈ విలేజ్లో ఉండే వెట్ ల్యాండ్స్, ఇంకా చింత చెట్లు, ఇంకా వెరైటీ ఆఫ్ ట్రీస్ వల్ల ఇది పెలికన్స్ నెస్టింగ్కి చాలా సూటబుల్ ప్లేస్. సో ఆస్ట్రేలియా, సింగపూర్, హంగేరీ, ఇంకా సైబీరియా, మలేషియా నుంచి పెలికన్స్ వస్తాయి. మెయిన్ వింటర్ సీజన్ స్టార్టింగ్లో వచ్చి, అంటే అక్టోబర్లో వచ్చి నెస్టింగ్ చేసి పిల్లల్ని పెట్టి మళ్ళీ తిరిగి మార్చ్ ఆ టైంలో వాటి పిల్లల్ని తీసుకొని వెళ్ళిపోతాయి అన్నమాట.
మీరు వచ్చేయండి, పవన్ చోట్ల ఉందండి.
देखो पूरा से घुमा रहा है ना.
वो ज़्यादा कलरफुल रहेगा ना मेल.
So both the genders they make the nest. Maximum male contribution. Yeah, and it's a whole twig only, whole branch kind of.
సో ఈ పెలికన్స్కి ఇంకా దగ్గరగా వెళ్ళే ముందు సో బర్డ్స్ మీద స్టడీ చేసే ఎక్స్పర్ట్స్ ద్వారా డీటెయిల్గా వీటి గురించి తెలుసుకుందాం ఫ్రెండ్స్.
Hi for all the rest of you. So we are here at Teli Neelapuram. What is this place? Why is it so important? And what makes this a heaven for such species of birds? So there is a international organization called BirdLife International. So they, in one of their programs,
they started identifying important sites where birds are breeding, nesting and even roosting spots also. So roosting is nothing but apart from the breeding cycle, when they are sitting on a treetop in the dusk from dusk to till the morning. So that is called roost. So important bird sites where birds are able to be there and active breeding and active population stability is seen. So they did an assessment all over the globe and they created a list of sites called important bird areas. So Telnilapuram falls under that category. Why? Because pelicans. These spot-bill pelicans are actually near threatened in the wild. They are near threatened to extinction. So IUCN categorizes birds and other animals also in a different set of levels depending upon their depending on population status, like whether they are almost about to go extinct or whether they are critically endangered or threatened or near threatened. So like that 7 different levels are there. So this bird is near threatened. So since this site hosts them for especially their breeding cycle, this site has been termed as important bird area. So any time from September to March or April you come here, you can find active nesting and breeding of spot-bill pelicans here. So main reason why they come here, so these birds in their origin, so all birds maximum have 2 homes. One is for their summer time, another is for their winter time. So this is winter, for them this is home. So these birds during summer they'll be in, their range is found in Southeast Asia from there, and during winter they'll move down to coastal Andhra, and then some of the population goes to Sri Lanka, some goes to Malaysia, Sumatra. So like that they have a particular range for the summer and winter homes. So why birds typically migrate? So there are a set of identified reasons for that, main being climate and food. So birds above the Tropic of Cancer, there during winter the entire climate goes freezing, dipping cold. So they can't feed, they can't stay there. So they move down. So they move downwards towards where there is warmer climate. So here they find suitable climate. Second is ample foraging opportunities, and they are safe from predators. So every bird, so if it is an aquatic bird, it has a set of predators. If it is a land bird, it has a set of predators. So they find their own spots depending upon where less number of predators are there, so that they are safe and they make it eventually to go back to their summer homes. So like that, when we take this spot is safe in 2 ways. One is less number of predators, another one is the bond that these birds have with the villagers here. So over time, these birds have been coming here. The villagers have established a kind of a very sacred, maybe we can term it sacred bond with them. So they celebrate when the birds come here. So it's like a homecoming event there, and they are very much having a responsibility that their safety is their responsibility. The bird safety is the villagers' responsibility. So this is why there are many places. So we find lots of parks, sanctuaries and all over India. Apart from these 2, there are 2 other categories called community reserve and important bird areas. The difference between these 2 categories is, in sanctuaries and parks it is almost wild. So there is minimal human, like they lay a path where human beings can go, find them in their naturalness and we can come. There is minimum human interaction among the bird and the human, or the animal and the human. We don't interact. We just let them be in the wild and we just see them and come back. Whereas in community reserves and important bird areas, mostly it is associated with the local people here. So they protect them to a larger scale. And at the same time, they also help the farmers. So if you see, apart from spot-bill pelicans, there are many other birds coming here, like waders, plovers, storks and all. So their feeding habits, some birds feed on larvae, which we can find on plants. Some feed on insects. So obviously they are farmers' friends. At the end of the day, they are helping farmers indirectly. So farmers, these people are also protecting them in turn. So it's a mutualistic relationship between the both. So this is how this site has gained its importance over the period of time. I hope you have all seen the
No, they have
birds.
not gone up. I'll take them.
Okay. Now you observe the birds from the top. So you see their nesting.
ఈరోజు తీసుకో నాలుగు నుంచి ఫోటోస్ చూసుకో కాదు వెళ్ళిపోయాడనుకో ఉండిపోవాలి అప్పుడు మళ్ళీ మ్యాగ్నెస్ నోట్ ఎవరు
Yeah, birds use a variety of mechanisms to navigate. So they use sun, they use the moon, they use the stars, they use landmarks all on the way they can find. And most importantly, which amazes humankind, is the imprinting they get from their parents. So they know the route, they know which direction to take and where their destination is. Even if you can see, you find some individuals here. So there are organizations in India and the world doing some ringing and tagging and banding of birds to find exactly where these birds are coming from and where they go back and where they nest, where they breed, where they forage, everything. So you can find very interestingly, there are certain species of birds which start from one area and they go to the same place every year. And some birds even choose the same nesting spot also. How do they do that? Even if the parents are not there, the juveniles, this year juveniles, the next year adults, they are also able to do the same. So how do they do this and why do they do this? So a set of reasons if we see, first is the genetic imprint that they get. So they are naturally aided with the sophistication of navigating without any tool or anything. Then if we see food and climate. So birds, unlike us, they are active from morning 4 o'clock till evening 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So the daylight is very important for them. So when daylight starts shrinking in the northern hemisphere, it's one of the cue. It's time we have to start shifting. And again temperature. So with lower temperatures around the clock, that is another cue for them. It's time to start moving. So they will start moving downwards. And then when it comes to food, so obviously when the climate there gets so cold and freezing cold, so two things are going to be very uncomfortable. One is nesting and the other is feeding. So obviously for those two reasons they come here. And India with its climatic conditions, diverse climatic conditions, suits many species. So this we are talking right now is about this particular bird, and this particular area is mainly devoted for the aquatic birds. Whereas even terrestrial birds, they also move. So they move through land masses. There are different places where they might halt for food and all. So when you see birds which migrate, there are one set of individuals which will take single journey from their homeland or their summer home. They start and they don't stop anywhere for a couple of days continuously. They keep flying and they reach their destination. That is one set of birds.
Day and night they come.
Day and night they travel. And there are another set which takes halts. So they find some places where they get enough food. So that is also imprinted actually. So for example, this painted stork that you see, stork family is famous for halting their journey in between, like wetlands especially. So they stop, they feed for a day or two, or some birds even take a week span gap. So they stay there, they take rest, they feed, they again build their reserves, and again they start their journey. It's a hip hop session. So from here to there, feed there for a few days, and then the next, and then the next. Finally, they'll be in their destination. So stork family especially does that. So how do they do this, and why studying migration is important? These both are interrelated. So now scientists have found that storks are stopping in between. How did they find this? There was a problem for which this was the result. The problem was that for a couple of years, a particular land or a particular place, maybe like this, saw a lot of painted storks coming. Suddenly it stopped. This year suddenly painted storks are not coming here. So the next year they kept seeing they are not coming here. So that intrigued what might be the reason. So they started observing and recording the data from different places. They found out the result that they got was the hip hop nature of their migration route. In between they used to stop at 3 wetlands. One wetland is completely gone now. Some industry or some residential area came, they filled the wetland. They built some area, built some concrete jungle on top of it. Now they don't have that particular patch to stop and feed to reach their destination. So what they do, they stop before that itself. On their second halt, they make that their destination. So that is how it is affected. So now when we start studying about migration, we come to know how that wetland is important for these birds' journey, entire journey. So if that is not there, they are not going to reach their destination. So if they don't reach their destination, successful breeding is not going to happen, and survival is also going to be a question mark. They might not be able to adapt to that climate. Over a period of time, adaptation happens. Not over 1 year or 2 years. It takes a couple of years to do that. So final question or final drastic change will be in the population status. So that's how one way migration studies help in conserving their habitats especially. So this goes for aquatic plants, aquatic birds, sorry. And then when it comes to terrestrial, migration techniques have helped in identifying the route that the birds take. So for example, there is a bird called Indian pitta. It is breeding in Himalayan foothills. Everybody knows that they are spotted in South India and Sri Lanka during the winter months, during the summer months. In winter months, they are there. Nobody knows which route they take, where they stop, how they feed on the journey, nothing, nobody knows. Because they have not studied that particular species in detail so far. So when you start taking up that studies, we get to know how they are moving around and all these things. And how birds travel such long distances. So we go to the gym 2 days and we are down. These birds travel like miles together, and it's like a part of them, a routine for them. So one feature that helps them is body structure. Our bones are not hollow, they are filled, whereas birds have hollow bones, so it's weightless. So that's why I kept saying this is a huge bird, not a heavy bird. I can hold them in this hand, it's not heavy. So their bone structure helps in managing their weight during the entire journey. Second important thing is their feathers. So their wing, every particular species will have a particular type of a beak and a particular type of a wing, which suits their entire lifespan. For what kind of activities they take up, their morphology will be built in such way. So that's another thing. And the third most important thing is their ability to store fat. So when you see them after nesting is done, they'll go back to their other summer place. There they'll only be feeding. They'll eat. Whatever fat they accumulate during this process, that is burnt during migration. While they are flying, they burn this fat reserves. That is how they can fly for so long without interruption, without halting anywhere. Some species. There is a species called plover. It is this much, and when you hold it in your hand, it is nothing more than a cotton ball. It does not weigh at all. It is coming from Alaska.
Okay.
It is coming from Alaska. It's more than 6,000 miles. Approximately it is more than 6,000 miles. So it's such a small bird, and how much fat can it accumulate to fly such a huge distance without stopping much in between? So it's a very fascinating subject to study and know more.
చూసారు కదా ఫ్రెండ్స్ ఈ బర్డ్స్ తాలూకా స్టోరీని. సో ఈ బర్డ్స్ ఇంతకుముందు ఒక దాదాపు 10,000 వరకు వచ్చేవి అని చెప్పారు. బట్ ఇప్పుడు ఉన్న క్లైమేటిక్ కండిషన్స్, ఇంకా చుట్టుపక్కల ఉన్న కంపెనీస్ తాలూకు పొల్యూషన్స్, వీటి వల్ల దీని సంఖ్య చాలా పడిపోయింది. సో వీటి సంఖ్యని పెంచడానికి గవర్నమెంట్ ఇప్పటికైనా యాక్షన్స్ తీసుకొని ముందుకు వెళ్ళాలని మనందరం కోరుకుందాం. సో ఫ్రెండ్స్, ఈ వీడియోని మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్ అందరికీ షేర్ చేయండి. చాలా ఇన్ఫర్మేటివ్ వీడియో కదా ఇది. సో కిందనే ఉన్న షేర్ బటన్ని యూస్ చేసి మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్కి వాట్సాప్ ద్వారా షేర్ చేయండి. సో అలాగే మీరు కూడా ఈ వీడియోని లైక్ చేసి మీ ఒపీనియన్స్ ఏంటో కమెంట్ చేయండి. అలాగే నా ఛానల్ని ఇప్పటివరకు సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయకపోతే వెంటనే సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి. సీ ఇన్ ది నెక్స్ట్ వీడియో ఫ్రెండ్స్. బాయ్ బాయ్.